Yo, it's Bam Mo back with Media. Now, Billy Carson just got exposed on a up and coming or a pretty popular Christian channel by a guy named Wes Huff, and pretty much he exposed bro for not knowing the right information when it comes to the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, and it comes to many other texts containing the Bible. And Billy had many instances where he has came at the Christian community, and now him having that debate with Huff, and Huff being able to put holes into his his theories and his hypotheses of where he got this information from is really causing a huge ego death within Billy Carson.
First, Billy, as to how you came about like the findings where it seems that Jesus was not crucified, or that's not accurate.
Sure. And in my videos, and if you listen to the podcast, the statement is according to the Sinai Bible. Okay, according to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible. That Bible predates the King James Version of the Bible, and the text there actually is about 12 to 14,000 differences between the Sinai Bible and the King James Version of the Bible, which came much later. And then also, one of the things that were interesting is that they discovered the book of Jesus' wife, which is at the Harvard Seminary, which, according to some scholars, that's a little controversial, but they claim that this is an accurate record that Jesus may have even been married, which then adds more, if that's true, it adds more to the hypothesis that maybe he wasn't crucified.
It's at the British Library, so you can go and see it. It's on display, and the British Library has actually digitized the entire manuscript. So I work with manuscripts in my linguistic work. I'm an expert on early Christian scribal culture, and particularly in Greek and Coptic manuscripts. I actually have a facsimile, so I have a photocopy that was done by the British Library of Codex Sinaiticus that I work with in my office. So I have it here, and the only reason I asked for clarification is because I want to make sure that what I'm addressing is actually what you mean.
Gotcha.
And not addressing something else. Because the Codex Sinaiticus in particular is just it's a 4th century Greek manuscript. It comes from approximately between 325 and 350 AD. And its text of the Gospels reads almost identical to the modern Greek text that we develop translations from. So my curiosity is just simply in kind of exploring, when you say that it denies the crucifixion, or that the crucifixion isn't there, I mean, I can go on right now, Codex Sinaiticus, and I can look up the end of, say, Matthew 27, where it has Jesus being crucified, and that's in Codex Sinaiticus, or, the John 19, or any of the other ones. So I think my confusion is that it doesn't read any differently. So actually, are you able to?
So that being said, this doesn't negate the fact that whether a person's putting out Christ consciousness, putting out these higher levels of consciousness anyway. So meaning that Billy, just because they're arguing over Bible talk and who's right about Jesus being crucified or anything, that doesn't make Billy information when it comes to consciousness wrong. It's just more so when it comes to when you're trying to come against somebody else's point of view, or their religion, or their state of mind or being. You're talking about somebody that bases everything off of their own perspective. So if a person wants to be Christian, then let them be Christian. If a person wants to be Muslim, then you let them be Muslim. Because what you're doing is you're causing division between the two, between you and the next thing or the next person. So this is the thing, when we're dealing with consciousness, people think consciousness is some sort of spirituality thing. No, consciousness deals with the overall perspective that if each of us is consciousness itself, and we're all viewing things in different perspectives, I'm going to let somebody have their perspective. Meaning, I don't judge you because you don't judge me. I understand that the only thing that we have is these differences, and these small differences is the things that make us unique to each other and have these unique experiences. But we're all really the same because we are all are from God, are all from source, are all from the same unification of energy. So this is the thing, is as we start to develop, and I really wanted to specify this and talk about this with the people who I connect with in my community, as I'm starting to build my community up. I want y'all to understand this, and I'm sorry about this light, it ain't the best right now, but I want y'all to really understand that what Billy Carson is doing is not something evil or something wrong, but it only becomes negative, or it becomes negative information, and he becomes against Christ when you start to bash the Christian community. No, I tell people I'm not a Christian, but don't mean I bash the Christian community. I'm not a Christian, but don't mean I have to sit here and shun somebody else's religion. Because I understand that I came from Christianity, and I know the power behind, Christianity. But what you got to understand is, when you're dealing with God, God goes beyond any title, name, religion, or date, or anything like that in the first place. So even besides the title Christian, what we're talking about is it healing you? Is it helping you first? Then from there, you can let somebody's self-journey and self-discipline be able to take them through the higher levels of consciousness. But if you're only worried about the consciousness that pertains into the Bible, or consciousness that pertains into, oh, this is false information, Jesus never did this and never did that, then you'll always run into these conflict problems, or it'll always be two conflicting forces against each other, you versus that person, this reflection versus that reflection. So what you're trying to do is ultimately get out of a state of reflection and get into, get out of a state of, confliction and get into a state of acceptance. And so I don't say, oh, the Christian Bible is wrong. No, I say, okay, yeah, there may be some things in the Christian Bible that you need to look at and be like, okay, let me not follow that, because let me understand what that means. But at the same time, that it's all about using discernment, being able to discern the information as you read it. What resonates with your spirit, with your information, with your DNA, what resonates with your soul. Because God put it all in there for you. So you're talking about, you're really trying to cultivate the inner you to cultivate the outer you, but you're so worried about the outside that you will never be able to comprehend consciousness on a whole nother level. This is why when we deliver information, we give out information to people, they have to be able to understand that this information is to open up the eyes of the individual. Even though we're collective consciousness, as I open the eyes of an individual, now they can go out and open the eyes of other people, just as based off of being themselves. So a lot of times this is what happens when you get caught up into what people like to say, oh, I'm a scholar, I study this Bible, I study this book, I study this ancient text, and I study this and that and the third. Bro, to be honest with you, we studied it to remember who we are and the connections between things. But to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter, because if you're not talking about being able to grow in consciousness, none of that history even matters to you. Till you learn about your history and learn about your ancestors, learn about yourself, learn about your spirit guides, learn about the Most High, learn about God, learn about the Father, learn about Jesus, learn about all these different things in terms of your perspective, then none of it even matters in the first place. Because Jesus is who they say he is in the Bible, but also Jesus is not who they say he is in the Bible. Because why? Because there's confusion. You don't get it yet? Historical fact check doesn't mean shit. You feel what I'm saying? It don't mean not a damn thing. You're talking about how there's been so much confusion between who wrote what and who wrote this. So you should be getting into higher levels of consciousness. This is the next journey for Billy, as we all are, as we all have made mistakes and been wrong and put out information that wasn't all the way accurate because we didn't have the full story yet. But it's just about Billy, hey, stop shunning other people and get more into God. Get more into God in terms of not just Christianity. Get more into the Christ that's inside of you. You're talking about this love. You're talking about the ability to accept things, the ability to hope for things, the ability to have all these different qualities that are constantly shaping and forming and fashioning a better human being, and eventually a better consciousness overall. When you're talking about experience and being able to use this experience to cultivate the next growth or the next stage of your development. And that's all it really is, and that's all it will ever be. So Wes Huff, You know, I applaud Wes Huff for being able to talk to him and break things down without getting, you know, angry or spiteful or going into some mess. But at the same time, Wes Huff, I would say that, you know, consciousness and all these different names we give God, it doesn't really even matter. It's all about unity. And y'all know this. It's Bam